Congressional leaders face some critical issues in the coming weeks, including the Iran nuclear deal. Local 12 is helping you connect to Congress. Today, we are joined live by the Senate Majority Leader, Kentucky's Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. Thank you for joining us, Senator.
Yeah, glad to be with you.
Our viewers have been asking questions. Paula from Lebanon wants to know about the Iran deal. She says, what would you have done differently? How do you think this is going to impact relations in the Middle East long term? And I will add to that, do you think that the hostages being held in Iran should have been part of the deal? And what do you think the Senate is going to do? What kind of vote on this?
Well, you ask a lot of different questions. With regard to what we should have done, we should have spent the last 2 years ratcheting up the sanctions on Iran rather than talking to them about reducing the sanctions. We know that's the one thing that worked. It brought them to the table. Unfortunately, the negotiating strategy of the president was to agree to whatever the Iranians would agree to. And so what we now have is Iran will be a nuclear threshold state. None of their other activities will be impacted. They're still creating problems in Syria, in Lebanon, in Gaza, in Yemen. And you mentioned the hostages. We've still got 4 American hostages sitting there who apparently were not a part of the deal either. So I think the president's going to have a very hard sale to make to Congress. The procedure is such that the president can get his way if he can get 34 votes in the Senate. So I'm sure he's targeting Democratic senators, trying to convince them to buy this bad deal. We'll have 60 days to review it, so the vote will occur sometime in September.
Also, Harold Smith from the Tri-State wants to know about the Brent Spence Bridge. He says we spend billions on Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. Why do we have to have a bridge with tolls? Do you think it's going to go to a toll bridge? And let me ask you, what can you do to expedite getting us a bridge in the Tri-State?
Yeah, the problem is at the federal level, we collect the gas tax revenue. We send it down to the states on a formula basis, and the state legislatures decide how to spend the money. So we'd like to find a way to be helpful up here, but earmarking projects, particularly projects of this magnitude, are just not done in Washington. These are state-based decisions funded in part by the federal gas tax, but we send it down to the states on a formula basis. So Kentucky got a slug of it, Ohio got a slug of it. Those 2 state legislatures and their governors decide how to spend it.
On the issue, though, of the gas tax, do you see that we're going to have to raise the gas tax in order to fund the trust fund, the Highway and Bridge Trust Fund that's going to run out in by the end of the month, about 11 working days for the Senate?
Yeah, we're not raising the gas tax. I've put together in bipartisan negotiation with the Democrats a way to pay for at least a 3-year highway bill without raising the gas tax. We hope to take that up next Tuesday and hope to pass it within a week.
What do you think about the crowded GOP presidential field? Is this going to dilute the Republicans' message? Is it a good thing? There are a lot of people. We've got somebody running in Kentucky. The governor of Ohio will announce next week. It's a lot.
Look, I think competition is just fine. I'm not worried about a crowded field. It reminds me of the Kentucky Derby this year. We had a lot of good horses on the track. Every one of them was looking for some angle to break through the pack and take the lead. I think we're going to have an electable nominee. It could be somebody from Ohio or Kentucky. And the big issue in the 2016 presidential election, in my view, is going to be whether people are satisfied with where America is. If they're happy with the country, my guess is Senator Clinton will have an advantage. If they think America can do better by taking a different path, I think our nominee will have a really good chance of winning.
Well, feel free to endorse right now, but as we wrap up, what would you like to say to your constituents?
Look, Kentucky and Ohio are in a very strong position here in Congress. John Boehner from this media market is the Speaker of the House. I'm the Majority Leader of the Senate. We have a lot of authority here. We can't solve every problem, but we're beginning to change the country and take it in a different direction. And if the American people give us a president with similar views, we can really take the country in a different direction.
Well, Senator, thank you for joining us. It's been a sunny day in the tri-state. I hope it's been the same in Washington for you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, now you can connect to Congress and view our entire interview again with Senator McConnell at local12.com and share it with your friends if you want. Every once in a while we solicit viewer comments on Facebook and we try to pass them along to Congress.